Welcome to the Branding PR Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories and strategies of today's most impactful entrepreneurs, business leaders, and professionals. Whether you're building your brand, scaling your business, or just looking for inspiration, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Branding PR Podcast. I'm your host, Brandi Sims, PR consultant, strategist, and your go-to for all things brand elevation. Today's guest is someone who truly understands the power of storytelling and media. With over 2 decades of experience in PR, broadcasting, and podcasting, Joe Massa is the CEO of Podtopia Network, a platform that's helping voices not only be heard, but also making a lasting impact. He's also the creator of the Podcast Accelerator, and he's helped countless brands break through the noise and build scalable influence. You know, we love that here. So we're going to dive into podcasting as a media strategy, building a loyal audience, and the future of digital storytelling. Let's get into it, Joe. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Brandi. Appreciate you having me. Love the intro and really excited to talk all things PR and podcasting today.
I love it. Love it. Well, you're speaking to the right person, and we are speaking to the right person. So let's get right into it. I love it. All right. So let's scale it on back. Let's get into your journey. So you've had an incredible, just looking at your bio, and obviously as a PR person, we're always going to do our own research too, right? But you've had an incredible 2-decade career in media and PR. Take us back to what inspired you to first get into this space.
Yeah, so originally I went to Colorado State University. I'm born and raised in Aurora, which is just outside of Denver. And I graduated high school, didn't really have a plan. I always liked the idea of doing radio. I'm a talker. People always like the sound of my voice. So that was always like, you should do this. And it never really clicked for me. So I went to Colorado State University, unfortunately, but also fortunately. I was a little bit too young and immature, didn't do a very good job up there, and ended up leaving university without graduating and sort of was just lost in this cycle. And the idea always was in my mind, like maybe I should do like a media broadcasting career. And it was like serendipitous. One night I was watching TV late night and there was this commercial that came on for the Ohio Center for Broadcasting. It's in Colorado, but it was branded as Ohio Center for Broadcasting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull the trigger on this. So I went and looked into it, ended up enrolling, and it was like a 10 or 12-month course. And it's just like a general diploma for broadcasting. And they teach you like radio and audio editing and video and how to do the basic stuff. As soon as I got into that class, that course, I loved it. I knew that this is exactly what I wanted to do. So I went through the motions, ended up graduating from their program, did some internships at local radio stations here in Denver, and then ended up getting my very first on-air job in very small market, South Dakota, Winter, South Dakota. So at 21 years old, I packed up from Colorado, left mom and dad's house, and drove up to South Dakota and started my radio career. And that's where it all began, my first on-air job up there. While I was up there, it was really a great experience. It taught me a lot of how to be on a microphone, what not to do. I sort of had this preconceived idea of like 1980s radio where you talk like this and you turn up the volume and rip the knob off. And that was like not it at all. So it wasn't natural and it was very forced, but it was a great learning experience for me. So after my time in South Dakota, I came back to Colorado and I assumed that based on my on-air experience that I would get a job on air in Denver. Well, Denver's a top 20 market. Might not seem like it, but in the radio world, it's top 20. So I was giving people my demo tape and resume, and they're like, no way. Not going to get in these doors at all. So instead, I had to backtrack a little bit, and I sort of demoted myself and went to the promotion side of things. So the guys and gals that run the tents with the music at the live events, that's where I started in the Denver market. And from there, I sort of built up. I ended up working my way up to become the promotions director. So now I was running the people under the tents, not being the guy under the tent myself. That turned into an overnight on-air radio shift. That turned into assistant program director for the sister station, then middays. But again, this took multiple years of lots of hard work, lots of effort. But eventually I turned myself into an on-air personality on FM stations in Denver, which led to syndicated satellite radio. So I was on a platform called Westwood One. Westwood One is owned by Cumulus Networks, which is the second biggest media conglomerate behind the iHeart brand, which was formerly Clear
Nice.
Channel Communications. And
Yeah.
then I broke off to Local Radio Networks, which was an ABC radio affiliate, and then podcasting and the whole gauntlet. But to very long-windedly answer your original question, it started by happenstance. Took a chance and went into media school, and then got my first job out of state, and I've never looked back.
Wow, wow. So, I mean, it all starts with taking that first step, right? And that's what sets off the trajectory of your future moving forward. That's amazing. So, from syndicated radio shows, right, to founding Podtopia, what were some of those pivotal moments in your career that really just shaped your overall approach to how you're storytelling and how your audience building, essentially?
Yeah, so there was a bit of a hiatus in between my radio career and before Podtopia. So during my time as a nationally syndicated radio host, it was a great experience, but sort of the technology was evolving and the podcasting world was really exploding. And terrestrial FM radio, it was kind of dying out, and the money wasn't great. And I didn't get into this job specifically for the money, but I have a family to take care of. I've got kids, and I wasn't able to really make a good living doing this anymore. So I got out of this industry and went into the mortgage industry, which is a family business. So it was just the right time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to hang up the microphone temporarily. I never fully got out of radio. I've still done a lot of voice work and audio editing, and I work with stations and networks all over the country. So I kept that sort of on the back burner and just started doing mortgages. And I put my tie on and kind of wasn't being true to who I wanted to be, but the paychecks were nice. So it was hard to complain. And then after that, COVID era, the mortgage industry started to tank. So I said, you know what? I didn't really want to do this anyways. Let's go back to our roots. So I took a job as a podcast publicist for an international PR firm. As I got into there, they wanted me to build out their podcast division. Well, it turns out the guy who ran that company, and I won't name drop anybody, was not the best guy. And he was not treating clients right. He wasn't doing an operating business in a way that was conducive with who I am. So after only a couple months, I knew I wasn't going to give this guy my contacts and networks. And so that's where Podtopia was born. I decided that, it's time to sort of build this on my own and do it for myself. And in January of this year is when Podtopia launched. And we created, like you mentioned, the Podcast Accelerator for people to learn how to do their own shows, but also just a place where we can all grow, network, and collaborate together.
Oh, I love that. I love that. These are those moments that really just help align and really help to shape how you storytell. It's going through those experiences. It means so much. So I want to stay on this real quick. How has podcasting in your purview evolved in just the past 5 to 10 years? And what role do you see it playing, in the future of how people are branding and media strategy? I mean, it's one of those things that we talk about so often. And honestly, anytime I hear someone say like, "Oh, podcasting is just the new thing," I kind of cringe at it because literally, I think it's just radio online. It's radio, guys.
There's
It's
a lot
radio.
of crossover there. And a lot of people that do radio, they have podcasts and they repurpose it as
Podcasting.
podcasts.
Yes.
And I think what it's podcasting has done for the average Joe Schmo like me is it's made it accessible for people to brand
Yes.
themselves and have their own shows. Like originally you have to be live and local in the radio world. Not
Yes.
everyone's ever going to get a chance to be on air, but as goes, you can build your own platform. Now, some people do it for reasons where they want the fame or they want to be a thought leader. I'm a firm believer that every business should have a podcast, at least a few episodes. And what you can use that for is an evergreen marketing piece that explains who you are, your brand, your strategy. So the old school way is let's get on discovery calls with potential clients over and over and over and explain yourself over and over. And it gets very overwhelming and you're wasting a lot of time explaining what you do and you're not actually using your time to do what you do. So a
Mhm.
podcast or an evergreen video like this can be a great tool for a business to use to introduce yourself, your brand, your services. Why should you work with Joe Massa and Podtopia Network? Instead of me hopping on a phone call for 30 minutes every day and talking to somebody, watch this video If afterwards you're interested in my services or me or as a person or a brand,
Mhm.
then we can set up a time to talk and go to that next level. So this is a tool to add to your marketing funnel that you can do it. And even if like I use my dad as an example, a guy that's pushing 70, he's a mortgage guy. He would never in a million years want to be a podcaster for the sake of being seen and being visible. But if
Yes.
he could create a short 10-minute video that explained all of the busy work before you came to him for real, help, that would benefit him and save him hours on the phone. So the goal is you don't have to be a potential influencer or want that lifestyle to benefit from a podcast. The platform is whatever you make it, and it's an uncensored free platform. You can put your show online for free and you can use it and let it sit there for years and years to generate interest, revenue, and buzz for your business.
Oh, you are spitting some facts here and definitely dropping gems. That is really, really an effective strategy. It takes away the guesswork and it takes away this idea and honestly kind of a stigma attached with podcasting, assuming that you just want to be seen. It's like, well, yes and no. I want to be seen. However, I really want you to learn about my brand so we can skip all the extra and excess where we're having to literally explain all over again. That's a very smart strategy. Now I see why you have a successful podcast accelerator program here and platform. That's amazing.
And the
Well, let
reality is, think about it like this: when you're texting back and forth or you're writing emails, there's this emotion that's lost in translation because it's just black and white text. You can't really tell how you mean those words. But when you
Yeah.
hear it come out of my mouth, you can see my body language. All of a sudden, there's a personal feel and touch to it. You know what I mean. You know how my intentions are coming across. It can't be confused because you can see me, hear me. It's almost like we're in the same room talking together.
Yes.
But again, it's you post something on social media over and over again, like, "Hey, my brand is having a big sale." That's great. It's in writing. It's in text format. You got a cool graphic you made in Canva. Adding some video elements to it really separates you. It makes you a thought leader in that space. People are going to see you now. They're going to watch your content and go, every time I turn on this guy's channel, he's talking about something new that intrigues me. So next time you really are ready to pull the trigger and do something in the podcasting space, I have now put myself as somebody you trust because you've learned from me. I've given you value over time. You've seen my content. You like what I do. So now, if you have a question, you're more likely to reach out to me instead of my competitor. So make yourself a thought leader and do so in a personal way, like we're doing right here.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love that so much. All right, let's talk building scalable influence. What makes podcasting such a powerful medium for brands and thought leaders? I feel like this is like the perfect segue as we're talking about this more. Like makes it such a powerful medium to you? Is it kind of what you're saying in that it's the personal touch and that personal connection and the visual that people are getting that you not can't necessarily get from a graphic or static
Yeah,
image?
that's part of it. There's a couple things, and I'll relate this to the radio industry too, because that's where I come from and that's what I learned. But and I've said this on other podcasts, and I feel like I repeat myself, but it's just so true. I can't not mention it. Podcast viewers and consumers are hyper engaged. When you get in your car and flip on the car and the radio's on, whatever's on is on. You didn't pick it. It's just what's happening. Unless you're on your Spotify list. But if you go to FM or even Sirius XM, that's just what's on. I didn't choose this content. It just happens to be on and I'm listening to it. If I want to watch your podcast, that means I found you. I searched up the information you're presenting. I found your specific show. I saved it, downloaded it. I consumed 30 or 60 minutes of your content. That means there's a really good chance I'm interested in what you're talking about. So I'm not a cold lead. I'm a very warm lead because if you present well and you give me the information I'm looking for, next time I have a question in that same area, I'm going to go back to you because I go, oh, Brandi crushed it the last time I had a question. And it could be as simple as a YouTube video on how to fix your appliance. If I have a broken appliance and I go to you the first time and you give me the answer I need, next time I have a broken appliance, you better believe I'm going back to you because you gave me what I wanted and you did it in a way that was I was able to consume it and it make sense. But the difference between podcasting too, as opposed to like a live FM radio show,
Yes.
it's some people do them live. A lot of times it's pre-recorded. What you can do with a pre-recorded piece of content is then you can add overlaid graphics, you can have links to things, you can make it a much more interactive, engaging piece of content that you can then hyper text a little box up here with, information and all the stuff you see on TV broadcasts that make it much more um, filled with content. It's the right kind of content. So it's a way to post produce very polished information.
Yes, yes, I like it. And you know what? One thing that even we share with our clients is the importance of repurposing content. Don't just nix that video, just take that video and make clips of it that you can reshare and reuse for other things. And then we get into the graphics, and that's the fun part where you can add all of that cool stuff to it and really make it more than just we did an interview and then that's done. Absolutely not. Do more with that because you can, and you have that opportunity that's available and accessible to you to make that happen now. So that's an awesome set of advice. So
Yeah, and one of the lessons in my course is all about repurposing content. I'm a firm believer you should get 5 to 7 pieces of content from every
yes,
podcast, whether it's audiograms, infographics, reels for either TikTok or Instagram.
exactly.
Always cut it up. You should and turn them into newsletters and social media posts. One thing
Yes.
people sleep on in marketing, and I'm sure as a PR person you'll agree, do not sleep on an email marketing list. Those people will turn into money paying clients because here's the thing. We all follow pages on social media that you can hide and you forget about,
Yeah.
if it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
If I'm getting emails from you and I have not unsubscribed yet, there's a good chance I'm either interested or I'm likely eventually at some point going to buy your course or tune into your webinar because
Mhm.
getting a bunch of email spam is annoying. So if I let you stay in my email inbox, I like you for some reason. So don't sleep on
Mhm.
your email marketing either, guys.
Oh, yes, yes. Longevity matters. That person just hanging on in there, that is what you said before. You're thinking it's a cold lead. No, that's a very warm lead. Engage them. Seriously. Okay, so speaking of clients, you've worked with clients to develop media strategies that align with their brand voice. What's one mistake that you see people making when they first launch a podcast or their own presence?
Quitting too early. And here's the reality. Your first show, it's not going to be good. Your first newsletter probably isn't going to be good. The first time you played basketball or baseball or football, you probably weren't good. So the reality is it's consistency that builds not only the thought leadership where people look at you as a leader in the space, but people have the attention span like that, like a little kid. So if you do 5 episodes in a row and then you're gone for 6 months, they don't even know who you are anymore. Be consistent with your production, your content, even if it's not great, it doesn't matter. You can get better over time. But the other thing I see people do all the time with starting a podcast is they go down this analysis paralysis analysis stage where they're overthinking everything and they're buying all the top line equipment and spending thousands of dollars. And I go, you don't even know if you want to do this yet. So you don't need a $5,000 computer and a $5,000 microphone. Start with what you have. Just start. So in 6 months from now, you can either have 6 months of progress or 6 months of excuses. But once you start, be consistent. If you say, every Tuesday at 9 a.m., my podcast comes out. Then every Tuesday at 9 a.m., put your podcast out and give yourself a buffer of shows so that you don't have life happen. Because if you're doing it week to week, all of a sudden you get sick, you're out of town, vacation happens, the kids get hurt. All of a sudden now you can't do your show, you miss a week, you're forgotten. So consistency is what I would highly recommend, but don't quit too early. Like give yourself time to grow into the space.
Yes, yes, that should be a t-shirt. Don't quit too early. Consistency is key. Not
We
just
can
in the
brand that. Brandy, me and you just started a t-shirt business.
right, right. I think we should do this. We should make this
I like
happen.
it.
Seriously. Okay, so let's talk about Podtopia Network. Okay, what's the mission behind the platform and how are you supporting creators in growing and monetizing their shows?
So obviously we teach the course. It's an online course where people can learn from scratch how to start their own podcast. And again, going back to my dad, just because he was really the inspiration behind this, I made the course as easy to follow as possible. You actually watch me go through my own course and build a podcast from scratch, from ideation to monetization. And the goal was to make it for people that have no technical ability. So it's not meant to be like only for media professionals. You don't have to be an expert to start a podcast. So we teach you how to do it, but here's what we really our long-term goal is. The second word in our name is network. We really stick to that. We're building a network for people to add their media business, whether you do SEO, social media, PR, publications, radio broadcasting, video or audio editing. We're building a platform where people can list their business, other people can find and collaborate with you, and we're not charging people like a commission to like, oh, I connected you with her. We don't care about that. We there's a small fee for our platform for the businesses only, and it's like $99 for the year, and that's only for our overhead costs. But there's hundreds of businesses that are in here that then you can communicate freely with and collaborate and build together. So we want a creative community that we can use because there are certain things that I can do. Like I can do graphic design. I'm not the best. I can do it, but I don't want to. I can do SEO. I'm not the best, but I don't want to do it. So instead, I have a network and a team of people I can lean on and share business with. So, but we also will take like your podcast, my podcast, anyone who has a podcast. If you want to list your show on our platform for free, we absolutely will do that. The same way you put it on Spotify and Apple and Amazon Music, it's just another area for you to be discovered. It's another area where people might find you where they might not have found you on Apple or Spotify. And what we'll also do is highlight your show. So if you join our network this month, our next newsletter, we're going to drop your name in there and push you out in front of our audiences because your growth is our growth. When you get bigger and stronger, we get bigger and stronger as a community, as in a whole. So we don't want to hold and gatekeep information. We want to give you the tools and resources to be great because if you learn from me and our team, then we get to not only watch you grow, but then maybe in the future we can help, you can help us back. Like it's a two-way street always.
Yes, yes, always a two-way street. It sounds like you are building such an impactful community network where people can really get those valuable resources, but also get connected with others. I think that's the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs have is just access to the resources. Like, I don't know the thing and I'm doing something very, very new, and no one's telling me anything. And not that people owe you, not saying that, but why not share that little tidbit? Did this resource really help you along the way? Or was this really impactful? Was this really, overall just helpful in your progress in your entrepreneur journey? I think it's amazing that you have something like this that really helps to hone and dial that in and really get the resources to the people that need it most and just sharing. Stop gatekeeping the information. Gosh, I
That
hate
was
when
one
I
of my
hear
biggest problems. Honestly, when I was starting my business and I ran a media company, Four Dimensions Media, which is still around. It's just me, but on paper, it looks much bigger. But again, when I would try to find resources or collaborators, it was like pulling teeth to get anybody to like, oh, or I have this great social media group, but I can't give them to you because then they're going to make you my competitor. I don't see people as competitors. That's
nope.
like saying Pepsi what shouldn't have been invented because Coca-Cola was around. They're both doing just fine. And the reality is there's plenty of room in the podcasting and digital space for all of us. And I might not be the best fit for you or your show or your guest, but maybe one of my partners in my network will be. And if you come through my network and find somebody else that benefited both of you, still a win for me because now I have two people that are happy in my network that want to keep coming back to my platform. That helps me grow. That helps me find new talent. It helps me put people on shows. It's an endless win for everybody, and there's no reason we can't share this information and grow together. And honestly, like how me and you met on a different platform that's
Yes.
doing specifically what I'm trying to do, but I'm dialing mine a little bit more niche down to podcasts specifically instead of also digital publications and PR stuff. So
Yeah.
we're a media company for broadcast, podcasting, but we understand also that people come to me and go, "Hey, I want to start a podcast or I want to be on podcast, but I also need social media growth. I also need an SEO expert. I also need a website designer." Again, I could probably do those things, but I don't want to. So instead, go through my network and find somebody that can do the work that you need.
There you go. Outsource it. Find the support
Yes.
within the network. Just tap in. That's all it is just tap in. It's there, it's available, and it's effective. Oh, I love that. Okay, so walk us through the Podcast Accelerator course. What do you teach that's often overlooked in traditional podcast trainings?
Yeah, again, I think a lot of it nowadays, especially with the birth of AI, it's these chat GPT courses that get pumped out. And it's like, you want to be a podcaster? Well, buy a microphone and record the content, then put on Spotify. You're a podcaster. So it doesn't really dive deep into any of the topics. So my course is 5 phases. Each phase has 5 different lessons. Now, the first one goes through like coming up with your niche and your topic that you're going to talk about, finding your ideal target audience, doing competition research, coming up with a format and frequency. Are you doing audio or video? Are you doing daily, weekly, biweekly, monthly? Are you going to be a solo host, do interviews like we're doing now? Are you a panel show? So these are things people don't really think about. Then obviously we got to come up with a name. We need logos and artwork. We need websites. We need marketing strategies. We need to repurpose content. We need to understand monetization strategies, how to make an intro and outro for your show if you're doing post production or video production, different tools and resources. So we really go through a lot of what you might not even think about, how to batch record episodes. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're trying to do your recording on Monday, release on Tuesday every week, you're going to fail. But instead, if you batch record 10 episodes in a row, you're going to look more consistent. You're going to sound more consistent. You're also going to give yourself a buffer for when life happens, right? So these are things people don't tell you that you should do that we go over. Obviously, we go over equipment lists. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a firm believer, use what you have first, upgrade when you see the need to, or when you feel like you're going to make this a bigger part of your daily life or marketing strategy, then buy the nicer microphone. Then get the teleprompter. Don't buy it up front. Wait till you need it, right? And then the course itself also, as I mentioned, you watch me go through the course. So it's not me just giving you a packet, you read it, do it all on your own. You get to see me be myself. I'm very authentic and organic in it. You watch me try platforms I've never used before just to see if you were just to Google how to host a platform, how a podcast, you're going to get the same Google search that I get. So I pick some of those tools that I've never used and we go through them together. And the reason I do that is, yes, I might be a little quicker study because of my background. But again, if I had never done this, this is exactly how I would start. And at the end of it, I actually have a brand new podcast called Podtopia Insider, which I develop in the course, Podtopia for the brand behind me, my company. But then what we're doing now is we're using Podtopia Insider to continue to make master classes where we dive even deeper into topics. Those master classes then get added into the Podcast Accelerator. So if you purchase the course, those master classes continually will get added. You'll have access to ongoing information as you build out your show. We'll bring in other people that aren't me, also other experts. Maybe you can do a show for us, a marketing show, a PR show. We want people to learn from our network and community, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do it well because that's what we do.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. That is amazing. And honestly, I just want to say I appreciate your transparency because I see so often with a lot of programs, a lot of platforms that they will encourage these people to go into debt. And I'm like, listen, you don't need to get all of that, especially when you're just starting out. Start little by little and work your way from there. So I really appreciate your transparency because there are people out here that have a dream and they're super excited about it. And I love the passion, but they will get themselves in the debt before anything even pops off. When really they could have just reinvested that back into themselves, started small. Okay, as we kind of build and get that consistency going, then okay, I got something monetized now. Now I can go ahead and replace my microphone. That was the little, I think there's that little fuzzy lapel I see all the time in all the TikTok
Yeah.
videos. The interns show me all the time. And I'm like, everyone's got this same lapel, but you see that little 6, 7 buck thing. And then, you could start with that or start with if you have AirPods or some kind of little device, start something small. And then, okay, now I'm ready to go ahead and replace, as opposed to, I need to go and get this $2,000 equipment right now if I'm going to be serious about podcasting. And that's what they said, the experts, that if I'm serious about this, I've got to get the top of the line right out the gate. And I think that is just so unfortunate. It's so just misleading for those folks that are really just getting started and really don't know. I mean, do you even know how to work that equipment? I would be terrified
And
to
most
make.
people are. Most people don't know how to use it. And again, your cell phone is as good of a camera as 90% of what you're going to buy at Best Buy or anywhere else. Unless you're getting like a DSLR camera, like a really high end one. you could literally use your phone and run a podcast, get a little cheap $10 lapel mic. You're already 90% better than most, equipment that you need. So I agree. And the other thing on that, the other side of that is people get really hung up on creating the most amazing logo and website and all this stuff. You forget that you're starting a podcast. You're not a graphic designer. You can make a free logo, even a text-based logo on Canva in 10 minutes. You don't even need a website. Put your show on Spotify for creators for free. They'll host it for free, by the way. They give you a website, a built-in platform where you can a URL, you can send a link to your friends. You didn't need to do any of that work. So don't forget the point of starting a podcast is to do a podcast, not to build the most amazing website, logos. Those things are nice eventually. They're unnecessary in the beginning. And again, yeah, you said it right. You got your AirPods that came with your iPhone, even the wired ones, start there. You got a web camera on your laptop, start there. You can upgrade or get yourself a $50 webcam from Amazon. That's going to be more than enough to get you rolling.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. The point is to start. That's the main thing is you got to get started. Start somewhere. Don't just not. Because then that way, you're hindering your own growth and you're hindering your own development by not even going through the process at all. Getting hung up on things that it's not even going to impact you until down the line anyway. So yeah, first things first is you got to start. I love, love, love that. Okay,
And
so
the
let's
other, think about it this way for a non-media example. That's like saying you'd have to go buy all the gym equipment for your own garage before you start working out. No, you don't. Go get a
no, you
rec
don't.
center pass for $8. You don't need to
Yes.
build, you don't need to reinvent the wheel to get started. So sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about just kind of personal insights and just industry advice in general. So, for entrepreneurs or brands just starting out, what's one step that they can really take right now to begin building on their media influence? What's one thing that you would say you need to, if we're just getting started and you're just a blank slate, this is the first thing you need to do?
First, it's going to depend on the industry you're in, right?
Mhm.
So if you're a media PR person like we are, then this is different advice than if you're a crypto guy or a health and wellness supplement company. So what you really need to understand first is who you're targeting. So understand your target audience is going to be step number one. You can do that even using some AI prompts or something. If you wanted to use ChatGPT, why not use the tools at your disposal? Tell them who you are, what your company does, what's my ideal avatar for a target person.
Yeah.
Now, once you've identified who they are, where do those people hang out? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? Is it Twitter or X, if you call it that? Where are you going to find the people that matter to you? The ones that are going to buy your product or consume your content. Then you build a strategy about where they populate. So, for instance, if you're a business guy or a mortgage company, LinkedIn's probably going to be your best bet. So now start building a presence on LinkedIn. Now, again, you don't have to have 50,000 of your own followers. Instead, go join groups or communities online that are already doing what you're trying to do. And then engage with the people in those groups. Start to bring value to the groups, add to conversations, leave comments, put things in there that people read and go, oh, this guy seems like he knows what he's talking about. All of a sudden, in those smaller communities, you become somebody that's a trusted voice. From there, you expand into other platforms. One thing I see people do all the time is they go, okay, I'm starting a business. I need Facebook, I need Instagram, I need TikTok, I need this, YouTube, blah. And now you're spread so thin, you're doing a bad job on all of these platforms instead of a great job on one or two max. Don't go too thin. So have a focus, a niche, and a target audience. Find out where they live online and find the best way to market to them. Start with the free options like social media, go engage with groups. If all of a sudden you're starting to see a little revenue come in, your
Yeah.
excitement's building, hey, it's time to really ramp this up, look at some paid ad strategies. And again, there's a million YouTube videos you can watch. People do give this information for free. You can hire a company to do it for you. It all depends on your bandwidth, your obviously your budget, and what you're trying to accomplish. But again, the same thing, start small and then you exponentially grow as you're seeing the return on your investment.
Oh, yes, yes. Definitely. I like that one. Okay, so what are some trends in podcasting and media that you're most excited about right now? I know you mentioned briefly just chat GPT and AI and all of the innovation that's happening around that across the board in industry. But, is it that, or is it some other things that you're seeing that's just like, okay, I'm excited about this one. This is going to be good.
The tools are getting better, obviously, with the advancement of technology. AI is great, but remember, it's a tool and not something you should rely on. And don't ever let AI just create your content. I've seen people in businesses where they get like the Synthesia or these other avatars that like will clone you, and then you're
Yeah.
talking and you talk like this, and I mean, it might look kind of convincing, but the longer the piece of content goes, the more obvious it is fake. That's
Mhm.
maybe great if you're doing a daily Instagram post on your whatever product you're selling. But if you want to be authentically seen as a podcast person or a thought leader, you got to be sitting in the seat. You got to have yourself out there on the camera, or you don't have to do camera. You could do audio only. But what I'm really excited about as I'm getting further and further into podcasting, I would have to say is just the ability to see brands and businesses explode because they're using a tool just like AI. A lot of people don't know how to use it. You don't realize the power of your voice until you start using it. So, getting yourself in front of a microphone and taking yourself out of your comfort zone, you're going to see a buildup of your business that you never thought possible. So, I'm excited to see businesses who never wanted to do a podcast try one and they go, why didn't I do this 5 years ago? Better late than never. But the reality is, this should be the number one top performing piece of your marketing funnel. And once people realize it and that light bulb pops, that's what I'm most excited about.
Creating those game changing moments. I'm just
Yes,
saying.
ma'am.
All right. So, speaking of moments, what's been one of your proudest moments or biggest wins since you launched Podtopia?
I mean, the launch of it itself was big, that because I finally decided, why am I giving my expertise and networks and resources to other people to make money when I'm doing all the busy work? So just the launch itself was really exciting. The release of the podcast course was exciting because it was a love of labor, a labor of love. It took a long time to put that together. But honestly, I think it's coming on shows like yours and getting to share my knowledge. It's like writing a biography, and people read the biography to get a lifetime of your knowledge. I love sharing and teaching people. I love watching people grow because it's a testament that my platform is working. But then also, I feel like my network is expanding. I'm building relationships with people that now I think after this conversation interview with you, I would love to continue to collaborate with you. And this would have never happened if we didn't have this initial conversation. So it's putting yourself out there and then sort of reaping the rewards that come from it is my greatest accomplishment in this industry, and particularly with Podtopia Network.
Yes, yes. And look at that. Putting yourself out there is what launched this monumental thing that is Podtopia and just impacting so many lives in the process. I mean, hats off to you. Hats off to you, Joe. It's amazing. Seriously. All right, Joe. So we're going to switch things up and
Let's
end
do
with
it.
a few quick fire questions. So you just say the first thing that comes to mind and we'll go like that, right?
I'm
Okay.
in.
Okay, so first question that I have for you. Your favorite podcast you're listening to right now?
Favorite podcast that I'm currently listening to, outside of mine and yours, of course. Got to do a little
Yes,
plug
yes.
there. I'm a big
Talking about
fan of. There's a guy named David Rodriguez who I'm a big fan of, and he is a former heavyweight boxing champion, and it's called Nino's Corner. And he's a little rough around the edges, but I like how authentic he is. So he's a guy I listen to. He's sort of like a Joe Rogan, but like a couple levels down because Joe Rogan is obviously the king. But
yeah.
I'm also a big fan of shows that promote like personal development. So
Mm.
anything that makes me a better man, father, husband, community member, business owner, those are the shows that I really gravitate towards.
Yes, yes. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so I'm putting that on my list for next listens. Okay. All right, I like that. Okay, so one media platform that still works wonders for brands.
As I mentioned, and it's slept on a lot because people don't do it as often, email marketing. Email marketing is the biggest yes on my marketing list because, yeah, the podcast is great for visibility, but the loyalty and the actual engagement comes from people that will let you email them, because email is kind of intimate. It's like social media is just the endless scrolling in the screen. But if you're in my inbox, that's like your DM, but like your professional DM, right? So I think LinkedIn and email marketing are great platforms for accomplishing business. Now, if you want to be an influencer and the prettiest or the strongest or the coolest,
Yeah.
go to Instagram, do those platforms. But if you're
Hmm.
really trying to move your business needle, email, LinkedIn, get good at them, build a podcast. You need help, you call me. Then you're going to be crushing it. I promise.
There you go. All right. Dream guest you'd love to interview.
Ooh, that's a great question. There's people again because so the show that I host outside of the Podtopia Insider is called The Measuring Post. The Measuring Post, and I'll give you just a very high level overview. It started as in my basement growing up, there was a 2x4 where we would measure our height growing up. It was the measuring post. So we always measure ourselves quantitatively, like how tall you are, how much you weigh, how much money you make, how old you are. We never measure ourselves qualitatively, like how mature you are, your integrity, your intentions. So my show is about growth and being better and learning that I'm not the best at anything. I can always get better. So I really enjoy reading things from historical figures and the greatest minds of history. And they have these profound thoughts and ideas. So I like to take their quotes and turn them into modern day examples and then build on it and how I can use it in my own life. So based on that, I would love to bring on a guy like from the Daily Stoic. What that guy's name? I'm actually looking because having
A
a
brain
bit
fart.
of a brain fart.
Well, I mean, content within.
Ryan Holiday, excuse me, I apologize. Ryan Holiday. He's the host of the Daily Stoic, and he does this from a Stoic perspective, the Stoicism movement, and he is phenomenal. He's a great writer. He's got a great newsletter. He does his own podcast. So if I were to bring someone on, it would be somebody that I kind of emulated based off of his content.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I like that. I like that one a lot. All right, so one word that describes your approach to leadership.
Authentic. I would
Yes.
say authentic. I'm going to give you everything that I've learned. I'm going to share with you. I'm going to be honest, and that's part of my authenticity. So just be real. I'm not fluffing up. I'm not telling you things I can get you that I can't. I'm not going to lie to you. And if something's not working, I'll be honest and tell you. I'm going to be integrity and authenticity. So I'm going to give you two words because they kind of commingle.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, last question. What's one thing you wish more people knew about podcasting?
That it's not overwhelming, that you can do it, that you have to believe that you can do it. And then again, as I mentioned, your first 5-10 episodes might be awful, but they're always going to be awful if you never do it. So it's not as hard as you think. It might be overwhelming when you're Googling how to start a podcast and 9,000 links pop up. It's overwhelming. It doesn't have to be. Simplify the process. You can be a podcaster, even if you don't want to be an influencer for your business. Even if you do a 2-part pop up podcast on why someone should hire you as the next graphic designer, make it. You will never regret it.
Yes, yes. You know what? That is the perfect wrap up for us today. Joe, this was such an insightful and just inspiring conversation. Thank you for sharing your expertise and stories with our listeners. For those who want to connect with you or learn more about Podtopia or the Podcast Accelerator, where can they go?
Yeah. So for the Podcast Accelerator, if you want to get the course, you can go to yourpodcastaccelerator.com. And I'll send you the links that you can post with this video. So that's a great way to do that. I'll even include a discount on the course for anyone that finds us off of this show, because I certainly appreciate you bringing me on and having this conversation with me. You can also go to podtopianetwork.com. Now, depending on when this video is released, the website might look drastically different because, as I mentioned, I'm not new in the business. The company's relatively new. So our current website's more of a placeholder. We're building out this very interactive database for businesses, podcast. You can sign up, you can log in. If you are a client of ours, you get your online portal. So podtopianetwork.com, get there. You can also find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Joe Massa. It's like Massachusetts without the Chusets. Feel free to friend me. You can reach out to me. I'm an open book. If you want to connect with me on social media, like I said, I'm not gatekeeping anything. I want to expand my network as far and wide as I can. So find me, reach out to me, ping me, and let's learn and grow together.
All right. right, that's what I'm talking about. So, to our listeners, if today's episode sparked on an idea or helped shift your mindset on media, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with your network. I'm Brandi Sims, and this is the Branding PR Podcast. Until next time, keep building boldly.